Tonight's openings begin with Red Planet Rocketeer, a red ale from Dastardly Villain Brewing in Winnipeg. They describe it as being a malt-focused beer with hints of toffee and caramel up front, balanced with roasty dryness, grainy, biscuity characters in the finish. And in amongst that, they tell an interesting, if slightly fictional tale on the side here. Yeah, that is an interesting tasting beer. I like it. So the first package we have does not have any description on the outside of it that I can see. So, in we go. A little plastic case containing more packing material, and what are you? So we have one capacitor, one 8-pin chip, and a bunch of really tiny LEDs underneath some kind of silicone goop on here. And looking at the traces, I'm wondering if these LEDs are Charlie plexed so that this 8-pin chip can use 6 of its pins, I guess, to light up each one of those individually. That will be neat. Let's go check the listing and then fire it up and see what it looks like. LED Cobb Meteor Shower Flowing Water Lamp, DC 3 volts, LED filament, diodes, 220K blue, red-green parts, incandescent light accessories. Wow, gotta stuff all those keywords in there. Currently selling for $2.40 Canadian. Or if you buy 10 of them, $1.32 each. So it claims that they run on 2.8 to 3.2 volts. DC only draws 20 milliamps, and depending on which color you've ordered, will vary what color temperature it is, of course. So 3 volts on the power supply, negative to that side, positive to this side. See what happens. Okay. A nice little chasing light effect. Looks like it's drawing between 6 and 17 milliamps, depending on what it's doing. Peaked up to 18 there for a second. I'm going to have to slow-mo this, but I think it is addressing each LED individually and just chasing them along. Very cool. Very neat. And a super low component count, too. Like I said, just one capacitor, one chip, and a bunch of LEDs. An annoyingly scrubbed off chip, so I have no idea what it is, but it's almost certainly some sort of a little microcontroller. I wonder if I could replicate that with an ATtiny or something. Well, that's off to a fun start. What's next? It says connector. Sounds like it might be more than one. This is an assortment of PCB mount USB-C connectors in different form factors. That one looks like it mounts straight down onto a board. This one has the mounting pins coming out the bottom and the tabs coming out the back. This one has mounting pins that lay flat on the board, and again the tabs come out the back. Several different possibilities. So this I got just as a repair assortment. More and more things are coming out with USB-C on them, so I figured it would be wise to have an assortment of connectors just in case I had to do some repair. 100 pieces USB-C female plug connector repair set, Type-C solder replacement kit. Currently going for $11.16 American or $15.36 Canadian with a few pennies shipping. It was about $1 or so less than that when I ordered it. As usual, feel free to search around using the title and search terms and sort by the lowest you can find. Not much information down here. 100 Type-C, one storage box, 10 different types, so 10 of each. What else do you need to know? There's different pin counts as well. Some of them just have the basic USB pins, and some of them have the full complement of USB-C pins. So as usual, it just depends on what you're repairing and what the original connector was. Hopefully these 10 types are enough to get me close enough when something inevitably breaks and needs my attention. Right, next thing in from the mail pile. This is something that was sent to my P.O. box, so I have no idea what it is or who sent it. Surprises all around. It is a whole bunch of the short little DuPont jumpers for breadboard work. Those are always handy to have around because I tend to leave a lot of the circuits that worked out well on breadboards for quite a while between experiments or when I need to refer to them again in the future. If there are useful ones, I'll just leave them built up. So it's always handy to have more and more breadboard wires. Thank you to my anonymous donor. And as always, since I don't know exactly where these came from, I'll just link you below to a search that finds them. The search will already be set to sort price plus shipping lowest. And I see that there are a few auctions live right now. They may or may not be when you get to see this, but again, just search around. But even when they're not at auction, they are really, really cheap, and they're just super handy to have a bunch of kicking around. Moving right along, next thing in, we have, again, another one that doesn't have customs lies on it. I wonder why they've stopped doing that. Maybe maybe it does say underneath all the other stickers. And this is a 128 gigabyte solid state drive. Just a basic SATA 3 SSD, 2.5 inch form factor. Claims to be 6 gigabytes per second. All the rest of that, just standard stuff. And I know there are people screaming that this is certainly going to be a ripoff or a clone or substandard material. Yeah, I'm expecting it will be. This, I'm pretty sure I bought cheap. I just wanted to see how much of a ripoff it is, or if they actually send me what I wanted. This case, oh no, it is injection molded, but it does feel almost like it's 3D printed. It is Billion Reservoir brand. Comes with a warranty card and a little bit of propaganda about them. I'm going to test it out and see if it works, see how bad it is. I'm not going to put any important information on it, at least initially. But yeah, after playing with it for a while and seeing if it is in fact 128 gig like it claims to be, well, maybe I will use it as a file shuttle disk, or just as a backup of a backup for cold storage or something like that. Let's see how much I paid for that. BR solid state drive, 256, 512 gig, 2.5 inch SATA 3 SSD, 128 or 240, 1 terabyte, blah, blah, blah. SATA, internal, all these different keywords, whatever, SSD. Despite all the different sizes they've got up there, this listing has 128, 256, or 512. You can see the prices there. It was $13 when I bought it. It's gone up a couple of dollars, so be it. These discounts seem to be here for months at a time. There is all the specs that they claim. The only ones that I can confirm are accurate right now are those ones. I'm not sure how I suppose I could tear it apart to see what it has for NAND flash inside there. This listing only has these 3 sizes. It doesn't have the other ones. 6 gigabits per second is also what it says on the thing. And different read and write speeds, blah, 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 whatever. 3-year warranty, woohoo! We'll see what happens. I guess we could connect it up and just see what happens. This is just a USB adapter. It's not going to be at full speed as if I had plugged it into the computer directly, but we'll just see what happens. Well, it pops up on the disks utility as BR brand. It's okay. It's unknown. Let's see if it's got any smart data in it right now. Updated, there's no power on hours, nothing. So it is, in fact, a brand new one. It's not used. It's not reconditioned, unless they've zeroed that out, I suppose. Though it has been turned on 4 different times. So maybe the tests that they claim in the web page are true. They have actually tested it. Okay. No errors showing, all the rest of that. Cool. Well, I guess we could format it and just see what happens. I think I will format it for Linux because I am going to install it as a drive inside the machine eventually. So might as well just do that. Next, yes, format.
A few moments later.
Okay, that didn't take very much time. Let's just mount it temporarily. There it shows up over there. I'm just going to copy, what's that? That's only a couple hundred meg of video files over to it. And remember that this is happening over USB, so it's done. Bang. Okay. So that works. Let's see if it can just play any of these off there. Yeah, no problem at all. Cool. So far, so good. Obviously, I'm going to hammer on this thing a lot harder, but you don't need to sit here watching that right now. I'll report back at some point in the future if there's any problems with it. If not, if it just boringly works, then life is good. But as I said, I'm not really expecting this to be a high quality piece of equipment, and I am going to hammer on it before I put any useful data on it. Still, for, what was it, 14 or 15 bucks, that's not too bad. And as usual, the last one is the largest one. No customs lies on it, as is becoming common around here, so let's just hack into it and see what it is. A bunch of EU information on there. Still doesn't tell me what it is. Ooh, comes in a nice little case. Very lightweight though. What are you? You are a dynamic mic preamplifier. So we have a male XLR connector on one end, a female on the other end, and a black box in the middle. It says DM1 preamp dynamic. It claims to give you 28 dB of gain on a microphone. Okay. It needs phantom power to power it. That makes sense. And it only works with dynamic microphones. It doesn't work with microphones that actually need phantom, like condenser mics or ribbon mics. And there is all the specs. 10 Hz to 20K, 20 dB gain. Maximum output is 8.3 dBV. Needs 48 volt phantom, 135 ohm impedance, recommended load greater than 1K, uses only 30 milliamps. So there's a brand name device called a Cloud Lifter that basically does that job. This is, of course, a really cheap version of that same idea. Normally, the microphone that I use with my computer and my recording interface is a condenser, but I do have a few dynamic mics around here. They're older, they're not the highest quality mics, but I'd still like to use them, and I'd still like to get a little bit more gain out of them without having to crank my inputs as high as I do on the microphone interface. So this might just do the job for that. Built-in microphone preamplifier for dynamic and passive ribbon microphones. Currently they're selling it for $17.09 with a fake discount down from $61. I paid $15 and change back when I bought this one. So again, look around for sale prices and whatnot. Like this one, which is a version of it, which is cheaper. Optionally, there's this one, which is more expensive. Are any of them any good? I don't know. Ooh, professional microphone activator. Well, it's just a preamp. Solve your troubles. 28 dB of gain in Class 8 transistor amplification with circuit bottom noise. Yeah, that is the one thing. Amplification, especially going from a low-level microphone, is no good if it's adding extra noise or if it's amplifying internal noise in the circuit. It has to be a clean amplifier to actually be worth the money, even if the money is, less than 20 bucks. I'm hoping that is not an accurate graph, because what should be happening if you're using this is the response curve should be exactly the same shape, just up higher. If it's doing this, that is horrible. That is not what you want. So I guess I'll have to play with it a little bit, although that might be difficult to tell because, like I said, my dynamic microphones are old and not in the best of shape. But whatever, I'll find out when I play with it. Current consumption is 110 dB. What? 6 to noise ratio, 3.0 milliamps. That is awesome. That's almost worth the price of admission right there. Getting an amplifier with a 3 milliamp 6 to noise ratio. And there is the contents of today's Mailbag Monday haul. A variety as usual, and a couple of surprises. So first we have this little chasing light thing. That's kind of cool. I like that effect, and being just an 8-pin microcontroller, that's got to be Charlie plexing on there, right? That was cheap too. Next we have the assortment of 100 USB-C connectors. These are all circuit board mount in a variety of different styles, 10 different styles. Hopefully when I have to repair something with USB-C connectors on them, one of those 10 will fit. Next we have the anonymous donation of a bunch of DuPont jumpers. Always useful. They're essentially a consumable around here. Next, the ultra cheap solid state drive, 128 gigabytes. It actually works. That was the biggest surprise. Now I'm going to, as I said, hammer on it a little bit and just see what it can do, see if it lives up to its hype, see if after a few power cycles I can still get stuff off it. That'd be good. And then who knows, put some non-critical data on it just for long-term storage, probably. And the last thing in this microphone preamp, if it works, if it sounds decent, if it has its claimed, what did it say, 3.0 milliamp sex to noise ratio, that might be interesting to try and figure out what that means. But it could come in handy if it works properly. And again, I tend to buy the cheapest examples of something that I can find just to see if they're any good. That's part of what I'm doing here. And I'm having fun playing with stuff that I wouldn't otherwise be able to afford, thanks to the generous support of my Patreon supporters, my YouTube channel members, and people who donate random stuff to the channel. Always appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. And also a big thank you to everybody who watches every week. I really do appreciate that. Questions and comments down below. I'll talk to you later.